Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a horror thriller film, The Bar. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. Elena walks down the street while taking a call. An old lady gives her a lucky charm, but she merely throws it away. So the old lady curses at her. She enters a bar and asks for a charger. The bartender gives her a collection of chargers left behind by customers. Just then, a fat man named Mr. Fatty enters the bar coughing and heads straight to the restroom to do some greasy and smelly business. A John Doe enters the bar and orders food. Shortly after, a messy homeless man enters and screams curses at everyone inside the bar. He is silenced by the bar owner and quietly goes to smell Elena's hormones up close. The bar continues business as usual. A greasy old lady named Ms. Sexy plays slots in the corner. Nacho, a young marketer, works quietly on the counter. Then, an old businessman enters the bar. Another rich customer pays for the homeless meal and leaves. However, he suddenly gets shot outside. The people inside the cafe panic due to that. They look outside and realize that the street is empty except for the dead body. John Doe decides to help the man, but also gets shot while doing so. Everyone gets down on the ground except the homeless. A retired cop forces the homeless to get down like everyone else. While on the ground, they find out that there is no cell signal, meaning that they cannot call for help. Nacho offers to make the call, but the retired cop tells them to keep quiet as they might get shot too. The homeless gets angry that he's getting bossed around and makes a scene. The homeless gets up and tries to walk out, but stops when the bar owner tells him that she will give him food later. The homeless returns back inside and calms his messy muscles down. Everyone talks about turning the TV on to check the news, but the retired cop gets angry again. Businessman tells everyone to calm down as they have to work with each other now if they want to live. They all get up to watch the TV, but find nothing on it about their situation. The retired cop curses as he steps on the homeless's urine on the floor. Suddenly, Ms. Sexy notices that the bodies and even the spilled blood outside the cafe are now missing. Everyone stays in the cafe and waits for help to arrive. While waiting, the group starts discussing the incident. The bartender suggests that the killings never happened and that they are all in a dream. He also suggests that they are being tested by the government to see how they react in an emergency. The bar owner slaps the bartender because he is scaring the shit out of the others. Businessman then suggests that the police kill the people who left the bar because they were suspected terrorists. He adds that the real terrorists may have entered the bar to get the bomb and hide it in his bag. Nacho suddenly realizes that his bag is in plain sight and that he might get suspected. Nacho quietly tries to hide it, but gets caught by businessmen and the rest. He is restrained, and his bag is taken by the bartender. The retired cop tells him to open the bag, but he is too scared, so the bar owner opens it. They find nothing but used gym clothes and a hard drive inside, which the homeless takes. However, they suspect the hard drive to be a bomb. Helena is frustrated that they are blaming Nacho for no reason, so she takes the hard drive and destroys it to prove that the bomb threat isn't real. Nacho deflects the blame by pointing to Businessman's briefcase on the counter. Businessman tries to defend himself, but the bar owner quickly grabs the briefcase. Businessman threatens the bar owner when she refuses to hand it back. The bartender defends his boss, but gets punched by Businessman. Suddenly, the retired cop pulls out a gun and gets Businessman to calm down. Meanwhile, the homeless is watching the chaos from a distance. He quickly snatches the briefcase from the bar owner and jokingly threatens to smash it onto the floor. Everybody tries to get the homeless to hand the briefcase over, except Businessman, who suddenly starts goading him into opening the briefcase. The homeless suddenly opens the briefcase and everyone jumps away. However, only panties and hormone-smelly bras come out of the briefcase. It is revealed that Businessman is not the terrorist, but a mere hormone pervert. They suddenly hear a knock from the restroom door. They try to open it, but to no avail. The retired cop is forced to shoot the door open. Inside, they find Mr. Fatty throwing up from all the pills that he took earlier. While Lena tries to help him up, she notices a large syringe on the floor. Mr. Fatty's ear begins to bleed, oozing out diabetics. Suddenly, a truck arrives outside the bar. The group is overjoyed and tries to call for its help. People from the truck emerge wearing gas masks and immediately begin to put tires in a pile. They burn the tires and quickly leave, much to the dismay of the group. Elena notices that the smoke from the tires is being featured on a news broadcast. They find out that the fires were being used as smokescreens to hide the killings from earlier. All of a sudden, Mr. Fatty comes out of the restroom. He faces the group and reveals that the blacks of his eyes have disappeared. He raises his hand, but quickly collapses. Elena tries to help him, but Mr. Fatty tells her to get away from him. Finally, the man soon dies in front of everyone. They go through the man's phone to an unknown find out that he served as a military captain in Africa. Finally, the group understands that they are being quarantined because they were exposed to an unknown virus. They resign themselves to their fate. Businessman reveals to the retired cop that he is a divorced lingerie seller. In return, the retired cop tells him that he is retired, but he still misses his job. They raise their glasses together and drink. Meanwhile, Elena and Nacho row closer together. They decide to look for a signal to make use of Mr. Fatty's phone. Nacho eventually finds it and makes a call to his coworker since they cannot call the police. The bartender gets upset at Nacho's calm demeanor and tells him that no one will take them seriously. The bartender grabs the phone and shouts that they are trapped inside a bar. However, they are disappointed to find out that the coworker is no longer on the line. The two men blame each other and end up wrestling over the cell phone. The retired cop asks for the phone but gets stopped by the bar owner, who tells him that all those who have touched the cell phone might have already been infected by Mr. Fatty. The retired cop pulls out his gun and tells Nacho to leave the phone on the counter, and Nacho obeys. The homeless runs up to the counter, but the retired cop quickly smacks him on the head. The bar owner tells the rest of the group to isolate themselves in the bar's cellar below. After the retired cop scares them with a warning shot, they comply and even bring Mr. Fatty down to the cellar with them. The bar owner gives the homeless some alcohol to drink while they isolate themselves from the rest. Down in the cellar, the fives of them exchange stories. However, Miss Sexy suddenly starts feeling claustrophobic. She gets up and tries to exit the cellar, but the bartender stops her and tells her to breathe into a bag of chips to regulate her breathing. Miss Sexy refuses. While banging on the cellar door, she accidentally knocks over some bottles. Nacho quickly realizes that the liquid from the broken bottles has disappeared. The bartender tells him that there is a grate to the sewer below. They remove it, and the homeless drops a bottle in to check how deep the water is. The homeless then removes his clothes and covers himself in olive oil. He tries to slip down into the sewer, but cannot fit, no matter how hard the bartender and Nacho try to push and kick him through. They decide to stop, but cannot pull the homeless out. Suddenly, they hear gunshots from upstairs. They scream, but the bartender tells them to keep quiet. He listens in and realizes that the police have just entered the bar and killed the three upstairs. Smoke begins to waft down from the ceiling, and they realize that the bar has been set on fire. Finally, with Elena's help, they manage to pull the homeless out. Elena falls backward onto Mr. Fatty's greasy corpse. Meanwhile, Miss Sexy gets claustrophobic again. She tries to open the cellar door, but it has become hot and pulls the flesh off her hands. She falls down and gets knocked out in a sexy way. They later pour olive oil on her hands and wrap it in tissue. They soon realize that the fire above has died down. Nacho takes a look upstairs, but finds no bodies. He also sees that the policemen are taping up the windows so that no one can see what happened from inside. Nacho climbs upstairs and grabs the retired cop's gun. Miss Sexy suggests that they go outside, but Nacho stops her and tells her that they will all get shot if they do. Nacho suggests that they hide and wait for a few days before they leave. Suddenly, they hear a vibration. They look around and find Mr. Fatty's phone vibrating, revealing that the cell signal has returned to the bar. They look through the phone and find out that the syringe in the bathroom with Mr. Fatty was a vaccine. However, they also become unsure as to whether the vaccine actually works or not. The phone suddenly rings and Nacho almost drops it out of shock. Despite his initial hesitation, he answers the call. Unfortunately, the battery runs out. The bartender sifts through his collection of chargers to charge the phone. Elena suddenly remembers that there are still 4 vaccine doses left. They frisk Mr. Fatty's body for the vaccines, but cannot find them. They run to the bathroom to check and find the homeless who has found the vaccines first. They ask for the vaccines, but the homeless refuses since he knows that there are only 4 doses and 5 of them. The bartender suggests that they divide the vaccine evenly into 5 doses, but Nacho refuses. They eventually draw lots to decide who doesn't get the vaccine. Suddenly, they see the homeless taking a dose for himself. Nacho points a gun at him, but is too late as the dose has already been administered. The homeless then offers the rest of them the vaccines. Nacho becomes furious and attacks him. The homeless fights back and beats Nacho. The homeless picks up the gun and threatens the rest of the group. He expresses his anger that they discriminated against him because he is poor. The bartender picks up the vaccine, but the homeless punches him, causing the vaccines to fall down into the cellar. Miss Sexy runs after them into the cellar. She picks them up, but because her hands got burned, she accidentally lets go of them, and they fall into the sewer grate below. They decide to let Elena enter the sewer, since she is the thinnest of them all. Elena strips to her underwear and is covered in oil. They push her down the grate, but her skin tears and she starts bleeding. She eventually slips through and falls into the water below. She finds the vaccines and gets told to tie them to the light bulb so that the rest of the group can pull it up. She refuses, as she knows that there will be none left for her by the time she gets pulled back up. Elena tells them that they have to come down. Nacho retrieves a metal bar and starts hitting the ground to make the hole larger. While they do this, Elena walks around and finds a street drain. She hides the vaccines in a hole in the wall, peers through the drain, and sees policemen outside. She also sees the retired cop, businessman, and the bar owner's corpses getting disinfected. She loses her grip and falls into the water. The rest of the group make it down into the sewer. While in the water, Nacho pulls the homeless down and tries to drown him. The homeless resists, and they try to drown each other. They both disappear under the water. Suddenly, a shot is fired from underwater. Nacho emerges alone. Nacho defends himself and says that he took the gun after the homeless shot at him, after which the homeless quickly disappeared. Nacho asks Elena for the syringes, but she refuses. After he gets upset and threatens them, Elena tells him that he is just like the homeless. Nacho agrees with this. Elena tells Nacho that she hid the vaccines. Nacho grabs the bartender and threatens to kill him if she doesn't give the vaccines. However, Elena knows that he cannot kill the bartender. She is right, as Nacho doesn't kill the bartender. They all agree to split the vaccines. They head for the vaccines. Ms. Sexy leaves behind a trail of coins so that they don't lose their way. They pass through a dark tunnel and decide to hold hands so that they don't get separated. In the darkness, Ms. Sexy decides to push the bartender into the water. Because nobody can see in the darkness, Elena and Nacho assume that the bartender had just fallen on his own. Under the cover of darkness, Ms. Sexy tries to drown the bartender to ensure that they all get a full vaccine dose. Nacho fires a shot which illuminates the tunnel. They finally see that Ms. Sexy is trying to drown the bartender. They succeed in getting the bartender back safely above water. Ms. Sexy tells them that they had too many people in the group. The bartender replies that Ms. Sexy should be the one to die, since she does nothing but gamble in the bar all day long. The bartender quickly apologizes for his words for lashing out and breaks down. Meanwhile, Nacho gets up and points the gun at Ms. Sexy. Ms. Sexy turns around and tells him to shoot, but Nacho cannot do it. Realizing that what the bartender said is right, Ms. Sexy takes the gun from Nacho and walks away. A shot is suddenly fired, meaning that Ms. Sexy has killed herself. The remaining three take the vaccines, but before they can administer them, they hear coins dropping in the distance. They follow the coins and find Ms. Sexy's body propped up against a wall. However, the coins continue dropping behind them. The homeless appears out of nowhere and hits the bartender in the head with a pipe, causing the bartender to die and fall into the water. Elena and Nacho run immediately as the homeless chases after their smelly butt. They end up hiding in a corner. The homeless screams insults at them as he looks for them. Eventually, the homeless appears, but has his back turned to them. While the homeless looks for them in the distance, Elena and Nacho make a run for it. The homeless chases them to an exit. Elena tries to climb out first, with Nacho shortly behind him. The homeless grabs Nacho, but Nacho is able to kick his messy head off and continue climbing. Suddenly, Elena slips and accidentally lets go of her vaccine. It falls to the water below. They reach the top and try to push the grate cover open, but the homeless catches up to Nacho and pulls his heavy ass down. Before Nacho loses his grip, he gives Elena his own vaccine dose, sacrificing himself. Nacho lets go of his grip rather than his hormones, causing him and the homeless to plummet to their deaths below. Elena injects the vaccine into her arm. She eventually manages to push the grate open and exit the sewer. There, she sees the bar's ashes behind her as passersby begin to crowd around it. She walks away from the scene in her underwear. A kind stranger throws a jacket onto her as she walks out onto the street, which appears as if nothing has happened. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.